happens. You never really know what's going to come up during testing, especially when you push it onto a wider audience, and they test it very thoroughly. So fingers crossed it's all going to go well, and that's our plan for this year. And we're always looking at the ongoing development of the desktop version as well. So eventually there'll be a Scrivener 3. Again, not sure when that will be. Apple's always changing the look and feel of the software, and we don't want ours to look dated. So as well as sort of updating the look and feel of it, you're always looking at simplifying features, making it easier to use, making it more intuitive. It's just an ongoing thing with software, really.
Absolutely, as I think it is with websites and web presence in general, because so much changes in a year that we have to flow with that.
You look at websites that were around, say, 5 years ago, and they look so dated compared to today. It's very fast moving, and you have to keep on top of it, really.
Absolutely. So would your kind of iOS version allow the ability for a project to auto-update across a mobile, an iPad, or on a laptop? Would it synchronize? Is that part of the idea?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to have sort of full syncing, really. Because of the various limits that iCloud has at the moment and the type of file system we use, we can't actually use iCloud to do that. So we're going to be using Dropbox, I think, is our main way of syncing. But yes, that's it. You'll be able to open a project that you've started on the desktop on your phone, do a bit of editing, send it back off to Dropbox, then go home. When you get home, open it back up on your computer, make a few more changes, compile it and send it off to your publisher or something like that. The idea is to just be able to use the software on the go at home, anywhere that you want to, really. And we'll be developing an Android version at some point in the future as well.
Fantastic. That's a great enhancement for 2016 and beyond, isn't it? We live on the go now. So what about the promotion of Scrivener? Will that also move out from the organic approach you take, or are you happy with the way things have gone and for them to continue in that fashion?
Well, we're pretty happy with where we are at the moment. I think as far as the sort of launch of the iOS version goes, we're going to try and be a bit more of a sort of sensible, larger company now and take, I suppose, a bit more of an organised approach to it, really, and perhaps involve a sort of separate PR team and do a bit of sort of outside marketing as well. I think that's it. We've grown to the point now where we can sort of afford to do that, and we think we'll get some better returns for it. I think some of the problem that we have, well, not problem, the challenge that we have, I suppose, is that software like ours, first of all, it appeals to people who are very kind of tech savvy, but after a while, you have to sort of start to think, well, how can we actually appeal to people, who just use Word because that's what they're familiar with, but actually who get an awful lot out of using our software. It'd make their writing process an awful lot easier. So how are we actually going to reach them? And I think that's our next challenge. And I think it'd be quite nice to get someone from the outside involved, the specialist company, to go ahead and actually sort of help us reach those people and try and persuade them that this isn't, learning a new piece of software isn't a massive challenge, and the rewards that you'll get will actually be worth it. So take
absolutely. No, great stuff. And maybe the important thing for you guys is it comes back to that passion again. You've tried to outsource the mobile app development, and maybe because the people that you send things to can't be as passionate about your business as you, that's the hard part to get over. So I think when you do go and outsource that marketing, it's how do you take that same passion that you have and make sure it flows through all the messages, wherever they may be.
Definitely.
So the online world is kind of going through a bit of a change now for writers, and there's this huge rise in self-publishing, largely fueled by the Kindle. So do you get any reflection of that with your own kind of users and within the world of Scrivener?
Yeah, I think we do actually. Very early on in the development of the program, people were asking for the ability to export Scrivener files to EPUB and Mobi files as well, so that they could publish online, publish using the Kindle. I don't know. It's quite an interesting market, really. It's very, very different to traditional publishing. So there are quite a few challenges with it, and I think also there's quite a lot of challenges for authors as well. The problem being, I think, is what I read a very interesting article actually in The Guardian the other day by a lady called Rachel Abbott. I think she's had about 2 million copies of her various novels that she's sold, but she was kind of complaining that she's still not taken very seriously by the writing community. She isn't. I think she's sort of a top 14 Kindle seller in the past 5 years, and she still doesn't get invited to things like conferences and authors' workshops to actually talk about being a writer, because she's not taken very seriously, because she's just just a sort of online published person. And I think, given time, that has to change. There are so many different routes to actually getting your book published now that don't involve the usual steps of getting an agent, sort of finding a publisher and putting it out and launching in Waterstones like it always used to have to be the case to actually get your novel out there. There are a lot more routes to market now. And I think actually the world of writing is becoming a more interesting place because of that. There are a lot of novels that might not be considered initially by sort of an agent as a commercial success that do get out there and actually do find their audience. So, yeah, it's, for us as well, that we offer the option to publish in various formats. So, yeah, hopefully it's opening up the market for people using our software to actually go out there and do whatever they want to do.
I think so. I think it's a great thing for you and a great thing for authors. And we saw the same, I think, change in the music industry and in various other industries as well, where you have a traditional format and then the accessibility of the web and the ability to reach your audience without traditional marketing opens up that opportunity. So it's almost a choice nowadays, isn't it, for authors, whether they want to go traditional or they want to have a go at doing it themselves and self-publishing.
Absolutely. I mean, there are also various options around self-publishing as well. You don't have to just, sort of, put your novel immediately up on Amazon. There, crowdfunding and so on has actually entered the online publishing world. I was looking at something a few days ago, a company called Unbound, and what they do is they offer the crowdfunding the crowdfunding experience for novelists. So you put up a synopsis of your novel, offer various rewards, for instance, sort of, get a £10 sponsorship, and you can have your name in the back of my novel and a thanks. Pledge £50 and you can have a sort of signed copy of the cover artwork, that kind of thing. And it's quite an interesting place to be, actually. There are, I've got into it really because a friend's brother is actually publishing a book through it as well, a book on training to be a sort of martial artist in Japan, actually, and working in a paper factory at the same time to support that. It's quite bizarre. But also, looking on the website, there are novels about everything. There's a memoir of the guy who was the puppeteer behind Zippy from Rainbow. There's everything. A book about of photographs, which the proceeds of which are going to go to the Parkinson Society. There's everything on there, and it's quite interesting. It's a good model, I think. If you think to yourself, well, I've got my novel, I'm going to publish it online. It could languish at the back of Amazon, and nobody can ever download it. This is actually a very good alternative, I think, or something like this, because you get to actually engage with your audience before you've published your novel, and also after you've published it. You can have £100. You get a cup of tea with the author and a bit of a chat. So it's quite a nice model, really, I think, and it's bringing together the audience and the author, which I think is going to happen a lot more as we go on.
Which is a great thing, isn't it? That border's disappeared almost, that traditionally was there. So, Julia, where can we find Scrivener and yourself?
Okay, so our website is www.literatureandlatte.com. With both of our pieces of software for sale there. We also offer a small piece of software called Scapple, which is, well, if you just think of a piece of paper where you can, sort of do some thought bubbles, an idea aligned to a different idea that you want connected with it, and so on. That's what Scapple is. It's very, very simple. So we offer that as well. But you can download our software from there. We have a 30-day free trial as well. So, feel free to download it, give it a good try. It's 30 days of actual use. So if you use it for 5 days, go on holiday for 2 weeks and then come back, you've still got your 25 days of use left as well. So, have a good go. There's no pressure to buy. Have a good try before you do.
That's one of my favourite things about your software is the trial.
Yeah. It's I think that's it. Part of our philosophy as well is just the fact that one single piece of software isn't going to be for everybody. Some people will use all the features, some will only use a few. Some people still do just like writing everything in Word, and that's fine. But if you do want something a bit more, then we would like you to be comfortable with it. We don't want you to find writing a sort of a bind, or the software itself really should fade into the background and letting you get on with what you're doing. So, that's what we want to achieve, really.
And both great bits of software. I know I've been using Scapple to design marketing campaigns, never mind stories.
Oh, good.
So do you have any final message you'd like to give everybody?
Just go out and download the software. Just give it a go, really. I mean, at first, I think some people find it looks quite complicated, and it does have a lot of features. But the thing is, you don't have to actually use them all to actually sort of get to grips and start using the software. And the more you use it, the more comfortable you'll get with it, the more features you'll use. For instance, I mean, look at how people use Word. You don't always use features like mail merge and so on, which are hidden in the background. Some people do, some people don't. So go on, give it a go, and just sort of see what you make of it. We've got a 10-minute online video, which is on our website and on YouTube, and that's all you need, really.
Fantastic. Great stuff. Well, Julia, it's been wonderful to chat with you today and learn all about your adventures in writing software. And I wish you a wonderful Thursday.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Phil, and you.
My name is Phil Byrne, and I'd like to thank you for listening today. If you have any questions on anything you have heard in today's podcast, feel free to email your queries to podcasts@positivesparks.co.uk. We are an online advertising team who strive to help you thrive online. Want to know how pay-per-click marketing can be profitable for your specific business? Visit ppc.positivesparks.co.uk and sign up for your free ideas right now. Until next time, goodbye.